The sum of the measures in any triangle equal 180. I want to talk just for a minute about the couple of things in the math antics video. We will take some more notes next week, but I want to start by talking about the intersecting lines. And I want to focus primarily on something that was not focused on so much in the video, and that is this angle right here that is formed when these two lines cross, and the angle that is opposite it when these two lines cross. And the reason I'm using the highlighters is because to me they form a letter. So if you look at this right here and this right here, the yellow, they look like the letters V. And that happens to be the name of what we call these pairs of opposite angles when you have two lines that are intersecting. These angles are referred to as vertical angles. And when two lines intersect, you have two pairs of vertical angles. You have this pair of vertical angles that are opposite each other this way, and you have this pair that are opposite each other in this direction. So I'm going to indicate that these angles are not only a different measure, but they're also, I'm referring to them as a pair because they have two arcs. These angles only have one arc. So these are a pair of vertical angles, and these are a pair of vertical angles. The thing about vertical angles is that if you know the measure of one of the vertical angles, the other vertical angle has the exact same measurement. So in the example that I have here, the angle that is formed by the yellow lines, when I use my protractor and measure those, I can see that they have a measurement of about 34 degrees. So if this angle right here is 34 degrees, without even measuring, I know that this angle should also be 34 degrees. The same would be true of these two. If I know the measure of one, I automatically know the measure of the other. So when I measure this angle, and I'm going to extend this line so I can get a little bit more accurate measurement, I am going to follow the zero around on the inside, and I can see that this angle measure is approximately, it's between 140 and 50, so 147 approximately. So if I know that this one is 147, then this one is 147. The other thing I can see is that when I drew those intersecting lines, when I look at just this line itself from the video, we talked about the fact that when you have a straight angle, or right up here we did, when you have a straight angle, the sum of the angles should equal 180. So when I look at the measurements that I have right here, I can see I have 100. There's my 100 right there. I have a 40 and I have a 30. And then I have a 4 and I have a 7. And 4 plus 7 is 11. So when I add these together, I get 100. These two added together are 70. So 170 plus 11 is 181. I'm off that 1 degree again in my measurements. Pretty close. So these angles should equal 180, and the same would be true of the opposite side. Not sure you can see that. Don't think it's there. 34 plus 147 would equal 181, which is close to 180. The other thing is, in geometric notation, we're just going to add a little bit of geometric notation each time. So I'm going to make these vertical angles narrower just for fun. Here's the point where they intersect. I can also indicate that angles have the same measure if I put the little arcs in them, and then on each of these I put one little hash mark or one little line. That means that the measure of this angle and the measure of this angle have the same measurement. So I can also use an arc here and an arc here, but this time instead of putting one line, I can put 2 lines. So I can use a single arc here if I have the same number of hash marks on each side, and the same thing here. This is one way to do it. This is another way to do it. They mean the same thing. They mean that the vertical angles have the same measure.